Hello everyone, and welcome to our training video. Nadia and I are here today to share some information to you about the things we've learned over the years. Nadia, it is good to see you today.
I'm excited to be here. This is going to be fun. I love to share what I know.
And I think that's just it. It's going to be fun. Let's tell the people why we're actually doing this.
We're all doing Zoom meetings and the like, so we've all had some familiarity with Zoom, but we're now using this tool to make some Zoom television programs, and there's a little bit more you need to know to do that, to make it a little more polished and a little more professional.
Yes, and what we want our viewers to know is that although we don't expect you to set up a complete studio in your home, we want to help you look your best and sound your best. We're going to go over several different topic areas and try to show you the difference. Sometimes it's easier to see it visually than just talk about it. So with that, should we get started?
Sounds like a good plan to me.
What the audience wants to see is you. People enjoy seeing the background because they get to see where you live. It kind of tells a story about who you are. That's all good, but it should be secondary. So the focus needs to be on you. Blacks and whites do not usually work, and I'm going to show you that here in just a bit. I'm going to change my clothes to some other colors, and we will come back to that in just a moment.
While she's changing clothes, I think I'll do a little bit here. If you noticed, I was looking at the screen a moment ago, and it looked like I was looking away from the camera. So whenever you can avoid doing what I just did, please think about that. And as you're on screen, think about looking directly at the camera. The grooming and a little bit of makeup probably is a little bit more important than a whole lot going on down here, whereas we can stay with maybe plainer patterns or plainer colors and not so many patterns. A little lipstick adds some color, and if nothing else, a little foundation, and I get really washed out on the screen, a little foundation and some blush. And you can see that adds a little bit of a glow to my cheeks. Of course, if I were to go out to the bank now, they'd wonder why I had so much makeup on. So use a little bit more than you think you should, and you should be just right.
I'm back. Anyway, and those are really good tips, Nadia, and it's so true that we need to wear a little more makeup, a little more color in our face, and because of the lights take away from some of our natural color. So that was excellent. Anyway, okay, so here I have a white top on, and you may think, well, it doesn't look so bad. But you know what? Honestly, what you really see, first of all, is the white top. Don't you think, Nadia?
Yeah, all I see is the shirt right there. It just jumps out at me.
Right, right. And what we want is to have the attention towards the face and not necessarily the clothing. So white does not work, okay? I am going to go ahead and put something else on. There we go.
Not as bad as the white.
Not as bad as the white. Sometimes black works depending on your background. I'm reaching down here. Let's just say I had a turtleneck on or a scarf. In this case, I'm sitting in a black chair in the background.
Yeah, sometimes black will blend in even more than that. That isn't real bad.
It's
You
not.
could get away with that. But this black panel that I have in here on my screen, if I were wearing black and the curtains were wider, that would completely disappear into that matte background. So sometimes it depends. If you were a sweater, a black sweater with less of a smooth look would blend in even more, I think.
Much better because if you do have black on, you're breaking it up a little bit. Maybe, a small little choker necklace or something would be, even nicer yet, but it does break it up.
Before you're going to be on a show, sit down in front of that camera and try a couple things and try your makeup, and you'll realize I have all my makeup on and I still look washed out here, a little more blush. But change that shirt and then find something that really looks good on camera, because your lights and your surroundings are going to be different than ours even here today.
That's right. We're going to take a quick break here because I'm going to put my other clothes back on, and then we'll continue on with some more information. Well, hi, Nadia. Back again.
Hi,
Um,
Beverly.
I thought I'd try on my ears and see how they looked on camera. I was thinking maybe I could wear those. What do you think?
I don't know. It might be a bit much, but I'm feeling very famous right now, so
Well,
I think
you
I'll wear my
look
sunglasses.
like a star. I mean, look at you, girl. Go. Okay, folks, we're back, and you know what? We got to have fun with this. We want you to have fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. And what we're going to do is give you a few more tips to help you along, let you play on your own, and then we're going to come back. We're going to work with each one of you. We're going to take a look at what you come up with, and if you need a little more help, we're here to help you. Okay. So with that, I think we're going to talk about lighting. And in fact, Nadia, you've got some glare in your glasses.
I do, don't I?
I bet that comes from the lighting. Okay, folks, we're going to go to that. Nadia, you had some pretty strong glares in those sunglasses. And that's a problem with, a lot of people. I don't always wear glasses when I'm just talking to somebody, but if I'm working on my computer or if I want to read, then I need my bifocals and my computer glasses. So how do you avoid the glare? That can be tricky. That can be tricky. And you may not get rid of it 100%. What we want to do is to kind of show you some tips on how we can reduce that. One little tip usually is that if you take your glasses and if you're getting a big glare, bring them down on your nose just a little bit like that. Yeah, just a little bit if you can. And sometimes that will help to take away that glare.
And sometimes tilt the bows up. They'll hug your head anyway, but sometimes with the bows tilted up, it helps.
Okay, well, that's good too. Every person's lighting situation is different because you're in your home or you might be in your office. You may have overhead lights, you may have those fluorescent lights, window lights. This is it's all very individual. If you're videotaping, if we're doing a Zoom session and you're in front of a window, you have to remember that sometimes on a cloudy day or a cloudy sunny day, that the light's going to change, and it's going to look like the light is moving in the video. So the best thing to do is to find a place in your home where you can close the blinds, where you can separate yourself a little bit. And it doesn't take a large area.
Yeah, because you can't count on the daylight or the sunlight. It's just never going to cooperate.
Right, right. So I'm going to show you a couple pictures. I have a huge window, and I love my window, my living room area, but it's really large, and there is no way I can block out all of that light. Even when I close the blinds, there's still light that comes through. So, and then I have like an open concept area, so there's really no dark little corner I can go into to avoid that bright light. But I do have a very large bedroom. and we'll show you pictures of that. This is kind of my setup.
So it's amazing what you can do with such a small amount of space in any home to come up with a beautiful professional looking office like yours. And in my case, I have a huge family room and a busy office space here, and you can see how cluttered it is. And yet on screen, it's just as pristine and perfect and beautiful and simple as you'd ever want.
Nadia, I think you were going to put on your, do you want to do the overhead light first or the computer?
I'll do the computer first. It's an important tip. Sometimes when you walk into Zoom and you're doing a program, the screen comes up very small and you feel like that's adequate, that's good enough, I've got my other stuff in the background. And what happens though, if you don't bring your computer window, the window for Zoom, up to full screen, you end up with other white windows on your computer reflecting back as a complete new light source on your face like this. So you can see how much whiter and brighter and bluer my face is. And then of course, if you get very close to the screen, don't do this, it gets somewhat distorted and you're also just, the lighting is all wrong that way. But so make sure your other windows are closed, windows on the computer, and maximize your Zoom screen. And then there's one other thing, just as an example of bad lighting, you've got different light sources in your house and you're going to have to play around, turn lights on, turn lights off, move a couple things around. Again, like you saw in Beverly's setup, it doesn't have to be super complicated. But I have a lamp here that I actually did use for a few Zoom sessions, but you can see that it's all wrong. It's a completely different color. That's just an incandescent bulb, and they can be okay. If this light were clear across the room in a corner, it might cast an attractive warm light on my face. But being close here to me is definitely not the right light or the right color, and affects the camera. It affects everything. So you can see that a wide range of differences in lights.
In the background here, I have a small light. That is a very dim light. It's just kind of what they would call an accent light. And that's the one right there. Now that doesn't take away from my face. It doesn't, it can add a little bit of light on the shoulders here just to help the separation. But let me show you what happens when I turn that light off.
Big
Now,
difference. Not bad, but suddenly flat.
Yeah, it still looks fine. You know, it still works. But what happens is when you have it on, now it kind of warms up the whole image, and it actually shows a little separation, a little definition. Isn't that what you were saying, Nadia?
Definition, and it adds depth.
And if it's too bright, what will happen is that your camera on your computer will actually focus on that bright, bright light in the background. Your face will become dark and darker, and that light will be, again, if it's a really bright light, that'll become the main source that your camera looks at. So if you do put a light in the background, just keep it minimal, keep it a little bit dim, just to warm things up. And as you said, Nadia, give depth. That works good.
Yeah, it just occurred to me that we should show the audience a couple of still photos of what it looks like, what you will look like if you've got your computer set up in front of a big bright window and the camera is soaking up that window light and you're sitting there as a black silhouette on the screen.
Okay, Nadia, this is really fun. And I think we just have a couple more areas to cover. Let's talk about our positioning, you know, what we actually, where we are on the screen. And by that, I mean where we place ourselves, how close to the computer we come, how far back we are. Oh, what would you, folks, what would you choose? Nadia, you look really small and a great big. We're going to ask everybody to look at themselves with a head and shoulder pose. That's what we're going to capture. And then what we'd like to do is to keep everybody in the video about the same size. It's not going to be exactly the same. We're having fun today, folks, and we're going to show you the differences. I think we just did, but let's go through it again. Nadia, okay, a good head and shoulders will be where we are right now, probably, anywhere, right in there. We could even come maybe a little closer, but not a whole lot. What you want to do is to make sure that you have room on top up here. Yeah, right there. And many times if you see on TV, they're way up here, cuts their head off. or how many times have you seen somebody
way down
here? Well, where does your eye go to, folks? It goes to the background. And you feel like you can hardly hear the person, even though they're talking as loud as they were before.
They look like they're falling off the screen.
Yeah, right. So what we want to do is, and how you get that, of course, is to position your chair, but you may sit at the edge of your chair, put a pillow behind you if you need. But this is about right for both Nadia and I.
Yeah, and in a group, all the heads should try to be about the same size, within reason.
Now, I have a 15-inch laptop here, and laptops really do work best with Zoom.
They do.
But I'm looking at my camera on my laptop. There's a little green light, and my eye and that camera should be level, should be about the same, give or take a little bit. If your computer sets down too low, then you can set it up on books or boxes. I have what it's called a computer lift. You can get the wire ones, they're pretty inexpensive, or you can get a heavier duty one, but it actually is a place to set your computer on top of, and that brings it up to your eye level. Okay, folks, one last thing we really need to talk about. That is sound, audio, and that's going to vary from computer to computer as well. My computer is fairly new, and I know Nadia's is too, and it does make a difference on your computer as to how it picks up sound. I'm probably about a foot, maybe 12 inches or so away from my computer right now, and the sound is pretty good. Same with Nadia, I believe. Yeah. Okay. If your computer does not pick up sound well, what will happen is if you sit too close, thinking you're going to increase the sound, which it will, but then the head size, changes.
And the sound could get distorted, and you could get feedback.
Right. It could kind of have an echoey sound to it as well. Both Nadia and I have headsets that work well. And Nadia, we're going to take a picture. We're going to have the folks take a look at your headset.
Yeah. Now, this one is just a cheapy $9 deal. It's not as attractive or inobtrusive as the one that Beverly has, but this would work fine, and especially, and of course, then the end plugs in somewhere in my computer. One thing that this will help with, and Beverly's will too, is that if you happen to have background noise, like for me, if I were to suddenly get a neighbor start to mow his lawn and come right by my house because our yards are close together, and I don't want that noise to distract from the video, and I can't run out there and tell him to please stop, I can reach for my headset, just not make a big deal out of it, but slide it onto my head in the program and have it there, and suddenly the background noise is gone. and we can go on with our program without any disturbance, or much disturbance. Might mess the hair a little, but oh well. That's what that's good for. Beverly, what should we talk about next?
Well, we have one more area to cover, and that's audio, background noise, things like that.
Honey, I'm home.
Oh, okay, sweetheart, we're doing a show right now. I forgot to tell you, I'm sorry. Shh.
Hi, Chuck.
Thank you, honey.
Did I do it right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but we're not paying you union scale.
Okay. You want my computer?
All right.
That was good timing.
Good timing. We should remember to tell our family members to be quiet when we're doing our programs.
Right. And that was a great example of Nadia's husband coming down the steps and wanting to talk to her. But those are things we have to be aware of before we start our recording. People, our family members, coming into the rooms or slamming doors, or phones ringing. It's best to just turn them off, not just put them in the other room, but just turn them off just in case that one person decides to call you. Animals, pets. If you have a dog that likes to bark, people might think, well, if we just have them in the other room, right next door to us, you won't hear it. But our audio does pick up sounds outside of right where we're sitting, and that's why the microphones do help, because that the sound is directional and it's not picking up the background sounds. So if that's an issue that you're having with your house, or if you have pets and you don't have a place for them, something you should think about is to getting a headset. The other thing is like a little kitty cat just walking in the background, as cute as that could be. It's distracting.
I think we've covered just about everything that needs to be covered. I think this class is maybe getting ready for graduation.
I think so too. Oh, you know what? Let's just pause just for a moment, okay? We'll be right back, folks. Hey, Nadia, we made it through. We graduated. Yay!
Yay! Congratulations, everybody. You are graduates too. Yay!
Hope this has helped you. Remember, we're here for you to help you individually with your setup. If you need any more tips, just let us know. Okay. Thank you, Nadia.
Thank you too, Beverly. And one other thing, when you end a professional video, don't go, bye, everybody.
Even though we are doing that now. Bye, everybody.